welcome to day 17. As ever, at the moment, I've just finished work, and so apologies if you can see all my work accoutrements behind me. And it's still freezing, so I'm still wrapped up, got my socks and my jeans and everything on, and I thought it would be good to explore child's pose today. I think we use child's pose in pretty much every yoga class, and you can use it in different ways. Often when we do vinyasas, which I've talked about before, which is a flow where we move through a series of poses, we often have child's pose as an alternative to a vinyasa, but it can be a break. Sometimes we start the meditation at the beginning of a class in child's pose, and then there's a few things that we can do when we're there as well, some sort of stretches and poses that we can do from child's pose. And it's a really nice rest as well. So we don't always use child's pose as a rest, but we can. And what I'm going to do is show you the two main ways of doing child's pose, and then a couple of things that we can do from there. So I'm hoping I've got the video at the right angle. What I'm going to do is come back, because classical child's pose is where we have our knees together. In fact, I'm going to come around to the side so you can see. We have our knees together. We sit back on our feet are together. We take our arms behind us and we bring our heads down. Now, there's a couple of things to say about that. One is that that's not comfortable for everybody because of their anatomy. Some people find that they can't get their head down, so you can have a cushion or a block to put your head down on. That's absolutely no problem, but some people just don't find having the knees together particularly comfortable. So there's different variations. What we can also do is extended child's pose, and I tend to prefer that one. Extended child's pose is when we bring our knees apart, so you can see there that my feet are touching, and we do the same thing. So we're going to bring ourselves forward, just coming back to make sure you can see me. But with extended child's pose, we can stretch our arms out. And again, just resting our head down. And there's a couple of different things that you can do with your arms in child's pose. You can stretch them out and really stretch out and kind of come up onto the pads of your fingers. And that's a really active pose. I find that a bit much in my shoulders. Sometimes I will bring my arms to kind of cactus shape and hold them that way. You can just have them relaxed, you don't have to really go for it. But another thing that's quite nice is what we call Namaste shark fin, and I like that because that opens out my shoulders. So I'll show you that. I'm going to come down, I'm going to bring my head down, I'm going to bend my elbows, I'm going to bring my hands to prayer over my head and sort of creep my elbows forward. And that is a real good shoulder opener, and then when you're in child's pose with your knees wide, you should feel a really good stretch into your hips. But anything that you need, if you need bolsters or cushions under your chest, if you need something under your knees, if you need something under your head, then you can do that. And when we're in child's pose, we can also kind of roll our forehead backwards and forwards on the mat, which gives us a good stretch. So a couple of other things that you can do, keep getting further and further back. When we're in child's pose, we can come down and we can walk our hands. I'm going to walk my hands over to the right to just wherever feels comfortable. Now, you don't have to do this, but I'm going to put my left hand on top of the right. If you want a bit less of a stretch, don't do that. And then I'm going to bring my head down. So as well as having that child's pose, I'm also having a really good stretch in the left hand side of my body. And I would stay there and breathe for a few rounds, and then I'll come back and I'll take that to the other side. Another good pose that we can do from a wide-legged child's pose is what we call thread the needle, and that's a really good shoulder opener. And we can be gentle with this, or we can be a bit more full on with it. Sorry, I'm really sinusy and snotty at the moment. So what I'm going to do to thread the needle is I'm going to come up slightly. You can see my toes are still touching. I'm going to just place my left hand in front of me, and I'm going to raise my right arm, and I'm really going to just go for it and have a good stretch while I'm there. And then I'm going to bring this arm down, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring it down, I'm going to start to turn, and I'm going to bring my ear down to the floor. And then when we're there, you can stretch your left arm out in front, you can wrap it around, or I quite like to push it against my right hand, but we're thinking about lifting our chest up towards the sky. And you should really feel that opening up that right shoulder. And again, we would breathe here for a few breaths. And then we come back, and we'll do that on the other side. So this time I'm going to put my right hand down, I'm going to lift my right arm, have that really good stretch. And then I'm going to bring that under, and do with your other arm what you did on the other side. So again, I'm going to think about twisting, so I'm pointing my chest up towards the sky, and I'm going to breathe, and then we'll come back. So that's child's pose. This is extended, arms out in front. This is classical, arms behind. So you have a go and see what works for you. And then let's just finish with a couple of rounds of cat-cow. So I'm coming to a nice neutral spine, hands are under my shoulders, knees are under my hips, and as I breathe in, I'm going to drop my belly and look up, arching my spine, and as I breathe out, I'm going to reverse. I'm going to tuck my pelvis in, take my chin to my chest, and I'm going to do that 2 more times. And just remembering that when you get there, if you feel, oh, I need a bit of a wiggle to get some clicks out, then just go for it. And that's us for today. So child's pose with a couple of things to add on, and I hope that was helpful, and I'll see you tomorrow. Mwah. Namaste.